Well, hey guys, Thorzax here, and I realize that my channel centers around the firearms, enthusiast. However, okay, I want to talk to you a little bit about tools and the tools that we use on our guns and things like that. Really do have an application when it comes to doing intricate work on detailed work, like working on carburetors. Now I bought another set on eBay of Bing carburetors that are duplicates of this one. This is one of the original ones that came with the bike when I went and bought it. Still 45 years old. Okay. Anyway, so for 45 years, this thing's been sitting around with gasoline in it, and the bike sat for over 20 years. Nobody rode it. It was sold. The guy that had it before me got it running again, took it to a guy, and he messed around with it or whatever, and got it running enough so the guy could, the guy put it up for sale. But I don't believe, I believe that the previous owner before me knew that this needed to be done, and he chose just to get the bike running and then sell it. He was a motorcycle enthusiast. He had all kinds of different bikes. He had, basically a huge, 3-car garage just filled with motorcycles. And, he showed me his binder of all the different collectible bikes that he has, like Nortons and Matchless and, old Harley Davidsons and some of the sport bikes of the back, in the 1970s, like the RD 350, Suzuki, the Kawasaki H1, which I had one of those. By the way, man, that was one fast bike. Anyway, so the bottom line is having the right tools and being set up to do the job on intricate, detailed work like this is, imperative. I mean, and one thing I want to bring out, screwdrivers, screwdriver bits, and the use of them. I'm telling you right now, I have seen tutorial after tutorial after tutorial about these head screws that are on top of the dome here. They seize up and guys can't get them out. So anyway, what you can do with your gunsmithing screwdriver set, you can find a screwdriver that fits that exactly. Okay, and I'll tell you what, that is the battle right there. Once you got an exact fit, then you take your driver out, okay, and you can bust these loose. You want to make sure that it's seated down there. Oh, boy. Okay, well, we won't be getting that one anytime soon. Let's see if we can get this one. Nope, that one ain't gonna go. That's one thing. You see, now I've already gotten into an area where a regular screwdriver that is, that's V shape, that would have popped out of there and boogered up these screws. But as you can see, I'm not harming the heads of the screws. They're tight and they're in there, and I might have to use a little heat, maybe some Croil, or get on there with a hair dryer or something to get them out. But I'm not screwing these up. They'll come out. Okay, so that's as far as I'm gonna go as far as trying to get those out. So down here on the bottom end, again, 45 years old. So again, now I've already taken the liberty to go ahead and loosen these. So using a 6-point, socket makes a lot of sense rather than not. Believe me. You know, you get on there with a just a regular wrench. You know, you're taking a chance of having just those 2 points where you have this point and this point. You know, the ones that are putting the torque on the bolt or whatever it is you're trying to get out. And what happens is that those will gall and slip, especially on brass. So, you know, having 6 points of contact with 6 points of contact makes a lot of sense. Now, this is the first time this has been out of here. And as you can see, that does not look, it doesn't look too bad, but at the same time, the O-ring needs to be changed and all that. So, now what's up inside of here is we have the atomizer. Okay, we'll take that out. Okay, this is the atomizer. Plunger right there. Just like that. Take that out. And then there's the atomizer up in there. Okay, so again, this is where tools come in handy. O-ring picks, brass O-ring picks. I'm going to have to work a little harder on that one. I'm going to have to actually wait until I get this out, get these screws out, so that I can get that out. Actually, I'm looking down inside there, and this actually looks really good. So, anyway, to continue on, we're going to take this is our idle air fuel mixture. Okay, this is where you lean out. You know, you lean out the air fuel mixture. And as you can see, it looks pretty good. That looks excellent, actually. That's in really good shape. So, and then the next one. Now, this is where the right-hand carburetor, okay, when I went to take it apart, okay, it turned into a hopeless pile of junk, okay, because of this one thing. This is your idle adjustment. This is your idle jet. Okay, and when you set your idle on your bike, this jet right here is the one that keeps it running. And then what you do is that you adjust your air fuel mixture to lean it out, and then this screw right here on this, okay, you can adjust your idle up and down, you know, for the amount of R's you want, you know, RPM that you want it to idle at. So, and you have to bounce back and forth between the two carburetors until you get it balanced. And that's another thing too I got to do is I got to get a set of gauges, because on the side of the carburetor, as you see right here, this little screw, that little screw is actually a vacuum port, and you slip your Tygon tubing over the top of that. That goes to your gauge, and I suppose I can take that out right now. Okay, I'm going to have to get a smaller deal there. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this idle jet out. Like I said, this is, alright, this is where my other one failed. Alright, let's get a smaller one here. Alright, there she is. Like I said, having the right width of screwdriver makes all the difference in the world. Okay, so here we go. That is our idle jet. Okay. Let's make sure there wasn't a spring or something up in there that I couldn't get out. Alright. That looks good. Now all the jets are removed. Now I got them all sitting right here, which is really cool. Having a little pan for all the parts, huge deal. One of the things that about the carburetor itself is that the float bowl Okay, this side right here, okay, that side right there is a well, okay, and down here, if you can see it, there's a small hole right there. There's a small hole, and what happens is that the fuel goes up in this little well, and then this stem pipe right here, it draws fuel from that well, and it puts it in the choke, okay? And on BMWs, the choke is like a little mini carburetor, okay? And it's adjustable, okay? As you adjust the choke to choke the bike, what happens is it selects different orifices in there to enrich in your fuel mixture. So really ingenious stuff for back then. I mean, this is really cool stuff. Another thing I wanted to tell you, when you're working on this stuff and you have a vintage machine, these are expensive. These are not cheap. I mean, I bought my used set and I got a deal on them. I'm not going to tell you what I paid for them, but they were rebuilt by Bing with all brand new parts, all new diaphragms, and the whole 9 yards. They were cleaned up by Bing and they were put in sealed bags, and they were ready to go. All I had to do was just throw them on the bike, do my idle adjustments, and my air fuel mixture adjustment, and balance it out by ear as much as I can because I don't have a meter for the little vacuum port, which is right here. I can take this out now. Alright. There's a little gasket that goes on underneath here, and a lot of times that's missing. It was missing on my other bike and on my other set of carbs, but there you go. So that's your idle adjustment. This is now your idle adjustment vacuum port. This is so you can go ahead and you can balance the two carburetors to work in conjunction. Another thing too, having the right size punch, okay? Now I've seen guys use just sharp objects like an awl or a nail or something small enough that they can get it in there, okay, and they can punch, that this stainless rod out of here, and they miss or whatever, and the next thing you know, they miss and they put a big gooner in the side here. These are aluminum; they're rather soft, or magnesium. I can't tell the difference. I don't know if they're aluminum or magnesium, but what I've seen is that there's also, when people have done that, there's all these little peen marks around this area, and you're ruining this by doing that. So anyway, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take another punch, and I'm going to make sure that that's level and flush. Now, the way that these are put in there is that there's a knurled side on this side, which is inboard, okay? This is the crankcase of the bike. They're inboard. So I have to punch this from this side to that side, because this is where the knurl is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set that on there, and then use real light tapping. Okay, so light tapping left, light tapping left for the day. So we're going to do a different type of tapping here. All right, so you can get a little brass hammer. All right, and here we go. All I want to do is start it. Alright, that did it. Okay, so now we're going to take our other punch. Okay. I got it started going down there. Let's try it again. making progress. Okay, we're cooking with fire here, guys. Alright, now that got started. You want to be careful when you remove this. You know, it comes out the other side. Right, this is that's your float, and then this is your float valve. Okay, that's your float valve. Alright, that came out. So let's do this instead. Let's take it out the other side. Somebody screwed up when they put this together because it's supposed to come out the inboard side. Alright, there we go. Now this comes out. There you go. Alright. So now what we have here, let's take our O-ring pick and we'll get underneath this gasket here. Okay. We'll get this lifted off. There's the gasket. That's for the float bowl. And we're good to go on that. So let's try to take our choke off. Alright. Believe it or not, I've seen a lot of these ruined for the same reason that the dome here is that these get seized and people use the wrong screwdriver on them, and the next thing you know they've messed it up so bad that they're in there with a drill or whatever trying to drill it out or whatever, and they end up ruining the carburetor for that reason. Yeah, they're expensive. If you were to buy these brand new from Bing, you know, they're about $675 a piece. You know. Here's another thing too. Before I get inundated with all kinds of, remarks, okay, about ethanol gas, I already know about ethanol gas, and I know you don't use ethanol gas. It's just a bad idea. You know. There's the gasket. All right, and this is your, like I said, your little carburetor inside of a carburetor. When you move this, these little orifices here select, the orifice for the gas to go through. It goes through up here and collects in this little V area, which goes in here, okay? And then the enriched fuel comes into the carburetor, all right, and down the tube, all right, and comes out right here. And it comes out right there. There's a little orifice right there. You can see it, all right? Here's another thing too. The butterfly valves in these, there's two nuts on the other side of these. Those nuts, there's two different types. There's ones that have nuts on the other side, and then there's ones that actually screw into this post, or this this bracket right here. And these are peened on the other side. So what you have to do, if you want to remove that, is you have to get in there and you have to grind off very carefully with a Dremel tool, grind off the other side of those, take those peens out of there, and then you can remove these screws. Some guys use Loctite, to put the screws back in. I'm not a big fan of that because these screws, for any reason, from vibration or whatever reason, if they back out and they get loose and they come out, they're going to go directly into your head, okay, into the valve, into your intake valve on your cylinder, and it can ruin your head. So, peen these You know, don't use Loctite. Don't. I'm not a big proponent of that. It's your bike. You can do whatever you want. Anyway, so that's my take on that. All right. So I pretty much got this broke down other than this linkage here, and this just unbolts, comes off. I'm going to go ahead and loosen these and get these ready to go. I'm going to go ahead and take this and take it out in the garage, and I'm going to use a little heat with a hair dryer, not a torch, but a hair dryer, and heat these up. See if I can get it hot enough to get these to come out. So that's my next step. Okay, well, anyway, I just kind of wanted to share that. It really doesn't have anything to do with firearms, but in a way it does. I'm going to tell you what, having the right, you know, screw slot size can make a huge difference in a successful project than one that you're just having one thing after the other happening. And a lot of people use these homeowner screwdrivers that you buy in a 5-pack someplace for like $4, and they have the V type, you know, heads on them, and those are okay as far as, you know, you don't really care. You're just going to screw something together. But when, you know, I don't know. Some people say that the slots on those are V-shaped. I don't really buy that. You know, I don't think so. I think just cut a slot and it's the same width at the bottom as it is on the top. So why not just use screwdrivers that fit, and then you don't have that slippage. You know, it doesn't want to press more on one side, and then, you know, come out and twist out. That's my take on it. So anyway, I'm going to take the parts, I'm going to put them in my ultrasonic cleaner, I'm going to go ahead and clean them up and get them ready to go. I'm going to get this dome off of here, and that'll be it. So anyway, this is Thorax. I just wanted to share this with you, and until next time, hang in there. Okay guys, we're back. Alright, that only took a few minutes. I'm going to tell you what, if I didn't have the right size screwdriver, I would have never got those out. I mean, I never would have got those out. I mean, they were tight. Man, they were really tight. I don't know why somebody would have to put them in there so tight. But I was able to do that without damaging the screws. And, you know, screws are screws, and they're cheap, and, you know, you can buy them or whatever. In fact, I probably replace these with stainless ones. But, you know, I'm going to tell you what, having the right tools makes all the difference. I mean, having the right tools, using the right tools, using tools that fit. Not come close, but fit, you know. Big volumes of, you know, hassle go flying out the window. So anyway, so here it is. All right, so there you go. There's your, as you can see, it needed to be cleaned. That's your dome. All right, and then what you're looking at right here, this is a diaphragm. Okay, and the way this works is that as air is available to be sucked in as a positive side, you also have the negative side on this side, and this is drawing air because the cylinder is being sort of like an air pump, and it's drawing air. Okay, so what happens is that when you open the butterflies on these, okay, the butterfly opens up. Okay, more air is allowed to pass through. So when more air, it tries to equalize this side with that side, and then this needle valve, okay, because of the diaphragm, will adjust to that pressure, and it'll start to open up. You see? It'll start to open up and close. All right? And that's how this works. It really doesn't work off of the throttle cable, you know, like other motorcycles where you have a throttle cable that pulls this up and down. Vacuum, these are vacuum operated, these are constant velocity carburetors is what they call that. So you want to remove this, so we dislodge it, and out it comes. And there's your needle valve right there. Now the needle valve on these have settings, so there's 3 different settings, and depending on what size jets you're using, you can adjust that setting for what you want. But there it is. Okay. Now this is ready. This is ready to go ahead and be put in the put in the ultrasonic. So I mean, you can take this off as well. This is dislodges like that. So that's done. All right. That's pretty cool, man. So anyway, I'm going to continue to take this linkage off and get it ready for its journey through the ultrasonic. Okay, so anyway, I just wanted to follow up with that. I thought it was important. Maybe you didn't think it was important. I don't want to waste your time. But then again, you're watching YouTube. You're watching YouTube to begin with. So anyway, this is Thor's Axe, and until next time.